Modern antitrust lawsuits are rarely decided by a simple reading of the law. Instead, the battleground looks like this: thousands of pages of hyper-technical economic theory and mountains of empirical data. To see exactly how dense this litigation gets, we can look at the 2020 legal showdown between Epic Games and Apple. The core of the dispute was straightforward. Epic sued Apple, arguing that its App Store policies, specifically the mandatory 30% commission fee on in-app purchases, constituted an illegal monopoly. We know artificial intelligence can write code and draft emails, but this experiment tests a different threshold. If we feed it a $1 million plaintiff's expert report, can it identify the conceptual weaknesses in that economic reasoning? If it can, it suggests a shift in how we might interrogate complex litigation, making high-level economic arguments accessible to anyone with the right prompting strategy. This diagram illustrates the expert's first pillar, a narrow market definition restricted exclusively to iOS. The second pillar is aftermarket lock-in. This claims that once consumers buy an iPhone, they are trapped in the ecosystem and forced to use the App Store. From there, the expert pointed to Apple's 30% in-app commission fee as direct evidence that this arrangement was actively harming those locked-in consumers. Epic's entire legal strategy hinged on this precise framing. By legally isolating Apple's ecosystem from the rest of the smartphone world, they could mathematically argue a monopoly exists. We took this exact report and ran it through an AI, instructing it to evaluate the reasoning using standard principles of antitrust economics. It immediately flagged that narrow market definition as a critical flaw. The AI pointed out that a proper antitrust market definition has to account for cross-platform competition. Developers and consumers have reasonable substitutes. They can choose Android devices or gaming consoles instead. It also challenged the claim of consumer harm. The machine noted that a 30% fee alone doesn't prove anti-competitive conduct without a competitive benchmark. Furthermore, consumers generally understand the rules of a closed ecosystem at the time they purchase an iPhone. That was the machine's read. In reality, after a 16-day trial featuring extensive expert testimony, District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers issued a 185-page ruling. This scorecard compares the AI's initial critique directly against the federal judge's final verdict. You can see the column of green checkmarks under court alignment. The machine successfully identified the exact same 5 conceptual weaknesses in the expert report that the federal court used to rule in Apple's favor. Now, the AI did not arrive at this analysis on the first try. The results varied significantly depending on which model we used. While one leading model surfaced all 5 flaws, another model only caught 4. It missed a deeper critique of Apple's legitimate business justifications, specifically the security and privacy benefits of maintaining a closed ecosystem. To get judge-level analysis, you need a specific strategy. You have to explicitly instruct the AI to use standard antitrust principles, run iterative follow-up questions to dig deeper, and compare the outputs of multiple different models. An AI's performance on a complex cognitive task is directly constrained by the human operator's ability to ask the right questions. Let's be clear. Artificial intelligence is not a replacement for expert economists, legal teams, or federal judges. Real-world antitrust litigation still requires massive empirical analysis, rigorous data collection, and human testimony to definitively prove intent. Instead, the technology serves as a logic testing partner, useful for stress testing the internal consistency of an expert's reasoning. While AI won't write the final verdict, it provides a way to navigate technical antitrust litigation and test the assumptions that define a case.
Thanks for watching. For the deep dive economic analysis behind these stories, join us at EconWorks.com. Subscribe to stay informed on where law and economics meet the market. We'll see you in the next episode.